In today's video, I'm showing you how to fall craft while camping. Welcome to Creative by Nature DIY Decor. My name is Donna. So it's summertime and my family loves to go camping at this beautiful lake up in the mountains. And I typically take time off from YouTube during this time, but I thought instead I'd take you all along with me and I would show you a fun project that I did while we were camping. So I hope you enjoy, and I'm just gonna give you a little tour of our campsite and then we'll get right into the project. So I decided that I would forage all of my supplies from the area around our campground. I just found this fallen fir tree and this fallen birch tree, and I removed some of the bark, and that is going to be part of what I need for our project. I always have a stash of supplies that goes along with me and some crafting tools, but I thought it would be really cool to just use things from nature to create this project. Here I gathered some tiny little pine cones, and I gathered this branch, but I didn't actually end up using it, but you can definitely use anything that you can find in your forest while camping. So I have a pencil here and I'm just sketching out a basic shape of an owl on this watercolor paper. I had this watercolor paper in my crafting supply kit that we always take with us when we go camping. And so once you have your basic shape, you can then take your scissors and cut it out. Watercoloring is one of those crafts that we like to do, or art projects that we like to do while we're camping, but I don't know, this time around I just felt like it would be really fun to do some fall crafting. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna give this a try and we'll see how it goes. So with this birch bark, I bent it back on itself because it had a bit of a curve, and that helped to flatten it out. Then I take my template and I place it over top of the birch bark, and again I use my pencil and I trace around it. Now I did go a little bit bigger than what my template was, and that just allowed for me to trim anything off if I made a little bit of a mistake. I'm actually kind of curious, what type of crafting do you and your family like to do if you do go out camping? So once you have your template all traced out, you can then use your scissors to cut out your shape. All right, so I have my shape all cut out, and now I'm gonna start to decorate it. I'm using this little piece of bark, I believe it's fir tree bark, and I created some little round discs. I made 2 of those, and that is going to be the base of our eyes for our owl. Next, I am going to be using some of these little pine cones, and I just use my scissors to cut them down to make them a little bit more flat, and those are going to be part of our eyes for our owl as well. Next, I'm going to be using this craft glue that I picked up from my local Dollar Tree. Now I did notice that I believe Crafter's Square has something similar, so you could use that. It is a great substitute for a hot glue gun. I don't have any electricity out here where I am, so this was a great alternative. So I just generously applied that to the bark and now to the pine cones. I will put that into place, and then I allow it to set up a bit. It does take a while for it to completely set, but I believe it was just a few hours. So that was actually pretty good considering. So as you can see, I'll just add a bit more glue here, and then I will work on the nose as well. Or sorry, the beak as well. So you're going to want the glue to set, and while the glue is setting, you can go out and find a branch. as we are creating a wall hanging. Now, in around my campsite, there were a lot of fallen branches, and I typically like to use the type of branches that have got a Y to it. I find that it has some really unique character, such as this one. So I took this branch back to my campsite and I cleaned it up and cut it down to size. Here I had some yarn from my stash and I am tying it onto my branch. Now I did make sure that it would hang properly first before I knotted it onto the branch. So you'll want to do that as well. If it doesn't hang properly the way you like, then you'll just have to go out and find a new branch. So the glue has set on this owl and I wanted it off to the side where the fork is in my branch. So again, I'm just getting my craft glue and I'm going to figure out the placement of where I want the owl to be. And then I'm generously applying that glue where there was contact between the owl and the branch. So I did want to make sure that there was really good adhesion. So I added a little extra glue to the back of the owl and the branch. And then I turned it upside down, or I set it so it could set, the glue could set, but I admit it was a little tricky, but once I figured it out, it worked really well. All right, so now I'm back into the forest and I'm collecting some pine cones. I gathered a few different sizes. There was about 3 different sizes that I wanted to use. So I just grabbed those, and I find that pine cones are pretty good about not having many bugs in them. So they are a great thing to have in your craft stash. So here is a tiny little pine cone cluster, and I decided to glue a bunch of them on the opposite side of the owl. I felt it would help to balance this piece better, so I'm just gluing a few different pieces there, a couple different sizes. Once you have your pine cones all glued into place, you can allow the glue to set. Next, I am, as you can see, placing the larger pine cones in a bit of a pattern. Now, this is just to give me an idea of what I want this piece to look like. It's not going to be exact, but I do like to give myself just a basic outline of what I want it to look like. So once you've got the placement figured out, you can then use the wool string that you take, or any kind of string that you take along camping with you, and you can trim it down to size and tie them onto your pine cones. I did create several different lengths of this beautiful wool yarn that I had in my stash that I decided to take out with me for some crafting projects. Next, I am now tying the pine cone onto the branch, just like you see right here, and I will complete the rest of my pine cones in assorted heights, lengths onto the branch, and I will show you what that looks like here in a moment. So here is our nature-inspired fall craft project that is great for you nature lovers, and I know there's lots of you out there. I really had fun putting this together. I thought it was such a cool thing to be able to gather some things from the forest and create something for my fall home decor. This lake means so much to our family. We thoroughly have fun going there. And I would absolutely love to know what you think of this project by leaving me a comment down below. If you're looking for some more fall inspiration, then I've got this video right here for you. To the right, And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.